Hey, what's up guys? There's a new video right here I'm making on boundaries and why they happen and how they happen and how we could try to stop them, right? On an internal level. So I really want to talk about this because this is something I really went through a lot. I went through a series of times in my life where I wanted to be like the man. You know what I mean? Man of the hour. So I would always take on responsibility that had nothing to do with me, and I really started seeing a lot of that actually when I went into my career as an engineer. I was a supervisor and I used to work with other engineers, and I was taking on more things on myself than I should have, and they weren't even my jobs. You know what I mean? And I slowly noticed that I was doing that. Not that people were telling me always, but like they see me doing things and they're like, okay, so you're willing to do other people's jobs, so let's just give this guy more work. He looks like he doesn't mind it. And that's how it kind of initiates, right? It all initiates from that particular moment, especially when you're around a group of people. That's how people put things onto you. That's how people take advantage of you. But sometimes it's not taking advantage. It's really like, okay, you're saying yes to it. You're just not really verbalizing it, but you actually are saying yes to it. And I really wanted to go into like why we tend to have these difficulties. And I like to always bring this back to early childhood. Everything I link back is to early childhood. That is the essence of everything. That is the start of everything. You know what I mean? That's when you learn about the world. That's when your foundation is set, concrete, filled. You know what I mean? And you start building on top of that. And some things are good, some things are bad. There's always a good and bad way to come about it. But learning about it, you're able to what now set boundaries. You know, I don't want to say set boundaries. That's it. Like there's so much people who say that, but like it doesn't really make sense. Like what does it mean and why? So I'm gonna go into why. So it could happen at an early childhood stage where you were taking on responsibility. God forbid you. I mean, not God forbid at this point, but unfortunately, if your father passed away or your mother passed away when you were a child, you probably maybe taking on responsibilities as a man of the house, or you were the woman of the house. Like you were just kind of taking on those responsibilities. Sometimes it just happened to happen. You know, it had nothing really to do with you. You were just set in that position. You were the most mature. You were the most responsible. So what ends up happening is you start taking on these responsibilities as that person, as that grown up. And people actually at that point are just taking all that stuff on and they're feeling like this is what it is. You know what I mean? You're not really questioning things when you're growing up. You're not like, oh, why am I doing this? Should I be doing this? Like, who's there to compare yourself to? Who's there to talk to, about that? You know what I mean? At that point in life, you're not a person who's typically talking to your friends, your little friends about like, oh, at home I'm doing all these responsibilities. Like, your friends are probably not even mentally even there to even have those type of conversations. And I'm sure they're doing things that they probably should not even be doing and they're not really telling anyone for whatever reasons they might. So I really want to go into that when you're setting those boundaries. It's important to know how to set boundaries in life. It's one of the most important things in life. It's not just a verbal thing. It's almost never verbal. That's the key to it. It's actually never verbal almost. It actually has to do with if somebody who comes up to me and is like, hey, look, man, like, me and my wife are having problems, and this has happened to me before. I don't know what to do about it, blah, 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 blah. Can we try to figure these things out? Like, can we, like, work it out with us? And, the best thing to do is not even get involved in that. You know what I mean? Don't even get involved in that. Especially if it's not like a relative, don't even get involved. Like, I personally don't want to deal with that because you really can't fix that relationship. You're not a counselor. That's first and foremost. You're letting them know you're not their counselor. You know what I mean? You're not gonna make things better. And what's gonna end up happening every time there's a problem, they're gonna what? Pull you in. And believe it, if you have responsibilities, you do not want to deal with that stuff. That stuff takes up space. Some people are like, no, it's only gonna take 20, 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours. No. No, it's an energy. It's an energy. Like it's not even like that. They're gonna call you, text you. You're gonna be working. It's gonna get into your head. It's going to affect your everyday situation. It's an energy that comes out of you and is what is going to affect you in so many possible ways. So you really don't even want to deal with that. So like that's one way of like being like, hey, look, I can't help. I'm busy with my stuff. You know what I mean? I'm better off not even getting involved in this between you two, and I feel like you guys can figure it out better than me. And like you could do it in a nice way. It doesn't have to be like, no, get out of here. Like you don't have to ever do that type of stuff. I used to do stuff like that, so like I know from personal experiences that there's better ways to say things. You know what I mean? You don't always have to be like a dick. So besides that, The reason, and what I want to go into after that is the simplicity of also how it affects us mentally, right? The boundaries on an internal level, but when you're not really saying much about it. You know what I mean? Like if someone was like you seeing something going on, and you don't like it. You know what I mean? Let your body express that. You know what I mean? Don't hold it in. Just let yourself express it so the people around you know you don't like that. So next time they know not to get you involved in those situations or not to act in those ways around you because you don't like that. You know what I mean? That's another way of setting boundaries. You know what I mean? If someone's coming and touching everyone and you don't like that, like if he touches you or she touches you, and you just show them like I don't like that. You know what I mean? If they don't get it, then you say it. But like they should know. If they have some sort of common sense or some social intelligence of some sort, they'll be able to recognize that and be like, okay, I'm cutting it off. I'm not trying to get involved in this. You know what I mean? I also think that it's important for us to understand that boundaries are also important in terms of like how we deal with the world, not just people, but like how we deal with the world, like what I'm thinking about, like what am I thinking about, what am I obsessing about. You know what I mean? You gotta set boundaries with those things also. It's not just with humans, it's actually with things that don't even speak. You know what I mean? That could be something like a drug, that could be a obsession, that could be an addiction to cigarettes, to marijuana, to like women, to men, however you see it, whatever you are, however you might think of it. You know what I mean? It's setting that boundary. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna get involved in that. I'm not gonna let myself go into those situations. You know what I mean? Every time I see a cigarette, no, no cigarette. Like I'm not thinking about it. Like you know what I mean? No, I gotta go do other stuff. Like you know what I mean? You set that boundary with it. You let that cigarette know. We ain't talking. Me and you are not interacting right now. You gotta let them know. You know what I mean? It's all in here. When you set it in here, that boundary, everything else will come out. Verbally, physically, emotionally, all of it comes out. It's all about what you plan on focusing on and letting the world know that. And when you know how you let the world know that, you let your world know that. Your world knows it. All the other worlds will know about it. And what are other people? Then that's what all these other worlds are all people's worlds. You know what I mean? Once your world is set, the worlds around you will orbit around what your world is, not what their world is. In the beginning, it's a little hard. There's always friction. You know what I mean? Pulling that gravitational force, getting those two different like masses to rotate amongst each other and work around each other for the first time. You know what I mean? To set it at a specific distance. It comes from friction and the force of gravity. And gravity is always going against what you want. You know what I mean? But you are able to set it because, like, thank God we have that ability to do that. We set that on that world, on that like that spiritual, that outside, like the astronomic world. We set that. You know what I mean? Of course, from the grace of God, but like everything is set from us. We set it. We set it from us, and then that comes afterwards. And I just want people to know that we could do that, and we can all get there together. And it's okay. Like sometimes we don't know what our boundaries are, and that's very normal. Like especially if you're young, or you've been busy most of your life, you don't have time to figure yourself out, and it could be many situations. And some people are like, what do I do now? How am I gonna stop doing the things that I've always been doing, and how people are gonna act towards me now? You know what I mean? You gotta really sit there and think about it and be honest with those people and let them know what you're going through. You know what I mean? You could do it in a good, nice way. You know what I mean? And they'll give you some feedback. You know what I mean? And then you're the judge of that. You see if that what they're saying is fair. You know what I mean? The person I'm guessing the person you're talking to is a fair and decent person. If they're not, then you obviously don't really want to be involved in those type of people. You know what I mean? They're probably selfish, manipulative, and those people you kind of want to set boundaries with to begin with. And that's how you're gonna figure it out. You know what I mean? And you won't feel guilty about it. And it's gonna help your self-esteem increase. Because at the end of the day, it's all destroying your self-esteem. All these things. You know what I mean? Self-worth. It's horading you. It's making you like it's swamping you up and it's sucking you into a black hole at the end of it. You know what I mean? So these things are going to help you become more confident and secure. And the more you level up, these things get easier. They become more natural to come out from you. They become more and more and more and more natural. And I really want people to know this stuff because like we don't really get told these things that much, and it's important for us to understand it at a macroscopic and a microscopic level, because intellectually speaking, you need to understand these things. You know what I mean? We don't want to just be like giving you things on paper and you just following it. You know what I mean? We're all intelligent creatures, and we're all able to digest information and understand things through our own perspectives. And that's the whole point of this. You know what I mean? Is to get that message out there so you guys could take it in the way you guys can understand it and bring it out to the world. Because like I'm not gonna tell you like set boundaries, period. Like, okay, like what does that even mean? And how does that even mean that? Like what is that, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't even make sense. And of course, it all comes down to culture too, right? All these things are affected by culture and whatnot. So it's really important for us to understand these type of situations. And I don't want to keep talking because I could keep talking for days. But I hope you guys like took something from this video. You bring it to your life. You know what I mean? And you figure out the things that you need to figure out to live in a better, less dramatic, more happy lifestyle. Take care and have a great day or night wherever you guys are at.